So today we're going back to the basics of nutrition. I got some feedback this week from a couple of you that it'd be nice to kind of go back to what a normal breakdown of nutrition should look like. Like we've kind of heard of what eating healthy looks like in general. We know generally what we're doing, but kind of just really breaking it down. So a lot of this might be review. If it's review, great, you can kind of zoom ahead. If not, maybe you'll learn a little detail here or there that's new. So when we talk about nutrition, we talk about macronutrients. We can break down anything we eat into one of three categories, or usually a combination of categories: protein, fats, and carbohydrates. So within any given day, we eat a number of calories. Calories give us energy. They are what we need to sustain life. And in general, this is a huge generalization because there's so many different body types, genetic makeups, levels of activity. But like in this huge generalization, a person will eat about 2,000 calories a day. And I want to make sure I'm really clear on saying my approach to nutrition is not weight loss focused, and it's not never calorie counting, usually not macros counting either. But just kind of to, again, go back to the basics just for the information. But my specific kind of take on nutrition is eating to feel great. Figure out what your particular body and digestive, like genetic makeup, prefers to digest, what makes you feel great to eat, what makes you feel not so great. For some people, like my sister specifically, can't eat pork. It makes her stomach really upset. I can eat pork, but gluten makes my stomach hurt. I know certain people who can't eat avocados, but can have anything else. So that's my approach to nutrition, is figuring out what our body likes, what our specific body prefers to run optimally. And then throwing in not just what makes us, not just eliminating, figuring out and eliminating what makes us feel not good, but then finding those super nutrient foods that make us feel even better, like medicinal plants and things like that. So within however many calories a day a person's eating, generally speaking, we want to reach for about 10 to 35% of calories coming from protein. Now, this can totally vary. Again, I mean, nutrition is totally individualized, so it's really hard to do these basics when talking to a wide audience of people. But the amount of protein really depends on the specific person's just genetic makeup, as well as activity levels. So 10% of calories coming from protein is plenty. That's what is needed to help the body maintain and just continue. If someone is super active, then that person might have up to 35% of their daily food as protein. Now, that particular person, if they're, running marathons once a month and training for marathons every day, then they'll also be needing more calories, and therefore that percentage of protein within the calories will also be higher. So that number can drastically vary. Really intense athletes in the peak of training might go anywhere from 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight to 0.5 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So it could be a ton of protein being consumed. That is not a general recommendation. And in fact, if someone is not doing intense training, that amount of protein could add up to be harmful. That being said, the opposite end of that works as well. Like if somebody is eating 10% of protein and that fits their lifestyle, great. But then if that person who's running marathons is having 10% of protein, their muscles won't repair themselves adequately. So this is a really person-to-person basis. And this is something in our coaching call that we can talk about as far as specific to you as an individual, and try to narrow down what might be an appropriate amount of protein, because it's a big one. I've been reading a lot of research, a lot of the data on how to narrow down what amount of protein someone should be eating. So following all those same caveats, the amount of fat a person should be eating, it's 20 to 35% of their daily calories. And then last, carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are what we think of as carbs, like hot dog buns, soft pretzel, maybe a beer. But also carbs are an apple, carbs are fruit, and there's a lot of really good, really important and nutrient dense carbs too. So carbs get a really bad rap, and they're actually pretty excellent and fundamental to daily life. So 45 to 65% of our daily calories will come from carbs. So today we're narrowing in on protein. This was kind of my first deep dive into nutrition. I'm super passionate about it. And this is kind of what spiraled me into looking at nutrition, is finding out how customized nutrition can be, despite having data, how it can apply so differently to different people. So proteins that our body uses to build muscle, they're made out of building blocks called amino acids, and there are 20 of them. And with these 20 different amino acids come together in different ratios to form different types of protein. And so 11 of these our body can synthesize and make, but 9 of them our body can't synthesize. We have to eat them. We have to somehow consume them. If we don't consume them, then our body cannot function optimally. So super important that we're getting these 9 amino acids, or EAAs, essential amino acids, because it's essential that we're actually consuming them. So here's a list of the essential amino acids. So these are the ones that our body cannot make. We have to eat them or somehow consume them. In bold here, valine, isoleucine, and leucine, those are our branched chain amino acids. So if you've heard of people taking BCAA supplements, those are these bolded 3. Those are the BCAAs. But all of these 9 are very important. We need all of them. They're crucial for maintaining our livelihood. If we're looking towards building muscle as maybe an athlete or getting stronger, leucine is actually the most important as far as protein muscle synthesis and actually building muscle in the body, which is why it's one of those BCAAs. It's in that supplement that some people take specifically to help with muscle building and activity. So a quick word on BCAAs. They're marketed to help as something that you take during exercise so that you fatigue more slowly and you're able to get in a harder workout for longer. Now, looking into the research, BCAA is something they actually don't do. And here at the bottom, I linked the journal article, the scientific study done by the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition that goes into this, because this is, I don't know, for me, this was something that I didn't know. I always thought you had BCAAs to help you get stronger, to help you build muscle. Well, it can prevent fatigue throughout a workout, but afterwards, it actually does not help specifically build new muscle. We need all 9 essential amino acids to build that muscle. So if we're having the BCAAs, we're only getting those 3, isoleucine, leucine, and valine. So it actually can't help us build that protein, build the muscle, unless we also have the other essential amino acids in our diet. So looking at our list of those 9 essential amino acids, it's really important that we're getting all of those into our diet on a daily basis if possible. Definitely regularly, even if not on a daily basis. So for a protein to have all 9 essential amino acids, we call that a complete protein. And if a source doesn't have all 9, maybe it has 8, maybe it just has 2 of those essential amino acids, then we call it an incomplete protein. We need more amino acids. We need more of those essential amino acids for our muscle synthesis to be able to function. So looking at what are complete proteins, and sometimes people use the word quality, like make sure you're having high quality protein. When they talk about essential amino acids, I don't really like the term quality protein to describe complete protein, because combining incomplete proteins maybe two separate foods that don't have all 9 essential amino acids, but when combined together, they cover all 9. I believe that that's just as high quality. You're still getting all 9 essential amino acids as if you were to have just grilled chicken. Grilled chicken already has all 9 essential amino acids. You don't need to add anything to it. But no matter which dish you're having, you're still getting all 9. That's just my little spiel on that. But animal proteins are complete protein sources. So your dairy, your eggs, any kind of meat that you're eating, fish, those are complete proteins. They'll have all 9 essential amino acids. Most plants don't have all 9 essential amino acids. And so most plants are incomplete protein sources. However, like I mentioned, you can take 2 different plant proteins or 2 different incomplete proteins that are complementary. They have the essential amino acids that the other's missing. And if you eat them together, not even in the same meal, but within the same day, then that counts as complete. You're still getting the 9 essential amino acids within the day. So complete plant proteins, there are a few. So soybean, hemp seed, buckwheat, and quinoa are all complete plant proteins. So you can eat those and get all 9 essential amino acids. One thing to note here is there's not as high of an amount of protein in these plant protein sources that are complete as in animal-based protein sources. So you could have a bunch of tofu made from soybeans, and you could have chicken, and if you'll end up with more protein from the chicken than you will from the tofu, even though you will be getting all the same 9 essential amino acids. A quick word on soy. A while ago, maybe 10, 20 years back, there was some scary data coming up about soy, specifically soy milk. This was when soy milk was becoming really popular in coffee shops and as a milk substitute. And this kind of scary research came out, and scientists found that soy contains phytoestrogens, which are compounds that mimic estrogen. And therefore, they thought that there was a connection that these phytoestrogens in soy had a link to breast cancer. So since then, there's now more recent research where they have conclusively determined that these phytoestrogens actually do not cause cancer. They do not cause breast cancer, but the opposite. The phytoestrogen is similar enough to estrogen that it can actually block the estrogen receptors in the body and actually help prevent breast cancer. Not to an extreme amount. This is not a cure-all. It's not something to start consuming large amounts of any kind of soy product. But I just want to make sure that I mention that the research is out there, that there is no link to causing breast cancer from eating or consuming soy products. Hemp seed is a really great little seed. It really doesn't have much of a flavor, and you can sprinkle it on top of anything. Buckwheat, you can have a lot of bread products. It's like a grain. And quinoa could be used almost as a pasta or a grain, between a type of pasta and a rice almost. So now looking at complementary proteins, here we're taking plant proteins that are incomplete and we're pairing them up to then get all 9 essential amino acids when combined. So I give examples here where it's pretty common to eat them in a meal together, but again, you can split them up throughout the day and it still counts. So one example is beans and rice. So a lot of times a legume and a grain are a really good match for complete protein. So beans and rice, oats and peanuts. So oatmeal with peanut butter melted in. If you've never tried that, it's really good. And then hummus is another legume coming from chickpeas. So hummus and pita bread having that whole wheat, that whole grain. But again, they don't have to be in the same meal. So maybe you have for dinner beans with chili and beans in your chili. But then for lunch, you have rice and veggies, grilled veggies, sauteed veggies with rice. You have rice for your lunch, beans in your dinner, but combined, you get all 9 essential amino acids. And so that still counts as within the day, you're getting your complete protein. Same thing here with oatmeal and peanut butter, or my new kick as of the last few months, I love rice cakes with peanut butter. So rice cakes and peanut butter, that's also a complete protein because rice is the grain, peanuts are the legume. And then you can sprinkle some hemp seeds on top, and then you get that complete protein on top there too. So it's fun to kind of play around with these complementary proteins and then how to throw in some complete proteins too in a plant-based fashion. So I want a quick word on vegetarianism, veganism, and eating animal proteins. So animal proteins are more complete. They're a higher kind of bang for your buck as far as the amount you eat, you'll get more protein. So if you're looking for that higher percentage of calories, looking for the 35% of your calories kind of end being protein, then animal protein might be a good thing to reach for. On the flip side of that, if someone wants to be vegetarian, and I am vegetarian, I eat mostly plant-based, so mostly vegan, with a little bit of cheese here and there because I couldn't give it up, and some eggs. But so I am vegetarian, I am vegan. I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying you have to have meat to get enough or complete proteins. And what I love is kind of the problem solving around taking someone's food preferences and then making it work to get the complementary proteins, the complete proteins, enough protein. So again, something great that we can bring into your one-on-one coaching call. Just shoot me an email so I can start brainstorming and thinking ahead, and we can talk about whatever your food preferences are and how to finagle proteins within that.